sorry for your tragic loss of your daughter, and it's so many layers to this story, and we only have an hour, so if we run out of time, we'll continue another day. So I want to go back to before the incident happened, because it's my understanding that it's been a history of abuse. We'll say allegedly because Rica still has an open case on so many levels. So we'll say allegedly for legal purposes, but it's been a history of abuse at her father's house. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So back in 2016, I gave Rica. A lot of people say, well, DCFS took her or got involved when I went to prison. That's not the case. In 2016, I got into some trouble and I asked her father to get her. During the time of that, legal things went on, whatever. So eventually I got visitation rights. They filed for custody after I had given them to her for help. They filed for custody during our divorce because we were also in the middle of our divorce when I got into my legal troubles. He asked for custody. So I fought and I fought and I fought. So finally I got visitation 2017. In 2017, Rica started acting different, showing me differences within her, and ultimately flat out told me that this lady is hitting on her, and she's doing things to her that her mother or father ever did. And so at that time, I became aware that my daughter was potentially being abused by my ex-husband's girlfriend.
And not only you reported this, how many times do you think that you reported this to CPS?
I reported to CPS. I don't have a number. Okay. But I reported quite frequently, and not even just CPS, so I can't just say for CPS, but I reported to not only the Department of Children and Family Services, I also reported to any mandated reporter that I knew that if I give you this information, your position is to report. So I did that a number of times as well.
And that's their legal obligation, is to take any claim and to report, especially if they're mandated. But the story is so crazy to me because not only did you report, am I correct that her school even reported the abuse that they saw witnessed?
That is correct. The school reported, I reported, and not only did we have reports, we also had pictures.
Now, we've seen some videos that are quite disturbing of some of the abuse. From what I know is that this lady, she would videotape herself abusing your daughter. So how do you feel about having to sit back and watch these videos, and not only videos, but also text messages that were submitted to court about how their life would be better without your daughter?
Yeah, I do not watch the videos, and I have not watched the videos. I watched one video. I did read the text messages, and the fact that she recorded it, the fact that it's written, I'm grateful. A lot of people may not understand where I'm coming from, but I had nightmares. I had horrible, horrible nightmares throughout the 2.5 years that I tried to help my baby. I had nightmares about what was going on with her. And these are nightmares that I verbalized to people in power. And I told them exactly what I was feeling, exactly what I was seeing. And I told them, how do you know? As a mother, I couldn't explain that these are visions and dreams that I'm having of my child. They couldn't understand that. So when the videos came out, it was confirmation that a mother's intuition, please do not ignore, because I verbalize these things to you, and it's words. You've heard this way before the videos came about. And the things that I expressed to you and I told you were happening to my daughter were my dreams, my nightmares, the things that I feared. They were real because it was all in video after the fact. So the things that I put in my reports that I said I knew was happening to my daughter and no one believed me, those videos were confirmation. So when those videos came out and I heard and I knew what was in those videos, I thanked God. I was so grateful because I'm not crazy. It's not a delusion. This is real. And a mother's intuition, when you love your child and you have these feelings and these fears, talk about them because those videos confirmed everything. So the people that I talked to prior to these videos coming out watched these videos and I'm sure had some kind of feeling because they're exactly what I said that was happening to my daughter.
Mm-hmm. Now, before the incident, and we'll get into it, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody's clear. Did you have any conversation with her father about what you suspected was going on, and what was his response, if so?
Whenever I spoke to her father, I told him that he needed to take some time to speak to his daughter, that his daughter had some things to say to him, but he needed to have that time to speak to her. Richard would tell me, talk to Cindy. Talk to Cindy. I want to talk to you. Talk to Cindy. And so Richard pushed me to the side, and during this whole process, I did not have real communication with him. Any communication I had was through Cindy. Anytime that I spoke to him, he referred me back to Cindy. It wasn't until after her death that he had any type of, I'm sorry, I didn't do it, I didn't know what was happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're going to get into that after we discuss what happened. But tell me about how was the conversation like with when you spoke to Cindy about your daughter? What was her attitude or demeanor towards you?
Arrogance, a lot of arrogance. Oh, she don't even like you. You're not even her mother. She don't even care for you. She calls me mom. She loves me. Those were the conversations that we had. Why would I hurt her? Why would I do this to her? Why would I? Those were the conversations that I would have with her. She was in complete denial. She praised herself as being the savior to my daughter, and that I was just a piss poor mom. I was nothing, and that I should be grateful for her stepping in, being the mom that my daughter needed.
Mm-hmm. Now we know because of the video that was submitted into court that we see an incident where she has your daughter, I guess, what she is considering some type of timeout or punishment. We also see her father that does absolutely nothing. So how do you feel knowing that? I mean, this could have been so easily prevented. He could have at any point, stepped in and saved his daughter's life, and that's what he was obligated to do and did not. So how do you feel about him being present? In the video, you can see him walking past, looking at her while she does whatever she wants to do to Rica.
To be completely honest, I will get an aneurysm trying to put my mind around his mindset and how he could allow that to happen. Rich and I were together for 8 years. We were married for 5 years. And we talked and we planned Rica. Rica's not a child that just came about. Rica's a child that we sat down, we talked about, you're going to come off birth control, we're going to have this baby. It's going to be a girl, we're going to love her, we're going to have all these plans. We had all these ideas before we ever knew that Rica was going to be a girl and she was going to be who she was. We had an idea of what we wanted her life to be. In my mind, I thought that we did everything right. Out of 5 kids, Rica is my only pre-planned pregnancy. She's the only person that I wanted to have, and I knew that she was going to be a girl, and I had so many ideas of what I want her life to be like. So to know that the man that I put so much hope and faith into to help me to provide this life for the daughter, because I'm a child of abuse, I'm a child of molestation, I'm a child of incest, I'm a horrible. My bloodstream, my lifeline, it didn't come from the best. So when I wanted my daughter, I wanted to make sure that I was giving my baby everything that I never had, and I was so sure that he was the man to provide those things for me. So to know that he indulged in those conversations through text, not even to mention what they could have talked about face-to-face or through phone calls, but to read those text messages, to see what he allowed to happen, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know what to say to that because right now I still cannot understand how he could have let that happen to my baby.
And it's sad because anytime that, your child is with their biological father, whether it was voluntary or involuntary, that's not, nothing that transpired or why she was with her dad is in question, at least not by me or anybody on my team, because it doesn't matter. Her biological dad is supposed to be there to protect her. So take us to this day, January the 26th, 2018.
I can take you to January 28th, 2019, because I was in prison. And I was excited. I'm being called down to the program center. I'm only in prison 2 weeks. I'm in intake, and we're putting out request forms for everything because we want to do everything to do our best to get out of prison early. So I get a pass to the program center, and I am excited. I'm so happy, and I'm asking everybody, what does this mean? What does this mean? And they're telling me, it means you're going to get into a program. It means so many things. And then I get there, and they tell me I need to go to the chaplain's office. I go to the chaplain's office, and it's like one person after the next start coming in, and I see the sergeant, I see counselors, I see all these people coming in, and my first thought was maybe my dad died, and they want to be here because my dad died. They want to look out for me. Then maybe I'm thinking I got 3 adult sons, so maybe my sons have gotten involved in something. Maybe something happened to my boy. And so I'm okay with that because I know that these people are living their lives and they're making their choices and decisions, and whatever comes with that comes with that. And so when they told me to call my son, they told me to call my son. And so I called my son. And when my son said, Rica, it just changed everything. It changed everything. I said, Rica, what? And he wouldn't tell me. He's like, Mom, I don't want to tell you. I'm sorry. I hate to be the person to tell you this, Mom. I'm so sorry. I don't want to tell you this. I'm sorry. And I'm like, what, Tamara? Tell me what? What are you trying to tell me? And he said, Mom, Rica, she's gone. I said, what do you mean Rica gone? He said, Mom, something with her stomach, and something happened to her, and we don't really know, but Rica didn't make it, and she's gone. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean Rica's gone? And I just hung up the phone. And I said, she killed my baby. And I knew she killed my baby. And I just wanted to go back to my cell. I didn't want to talk to nobody else because I knew at that moment that lady killed my baby.
Okay. We're going to take a little break, because I don't want you to be overwhelmed, and I want to make sure that you're okay in telling this story. But what happened that day, from what I read and why she was deceased, is that this lady kicked your 8-year-old daughter in the stomach so hard that it damaged her intestines. And then after that, she denied her critical treatment that could have saved her life.
My daughter suffered for a week to 2 weeks. They're not exactly sure how long she suffered. But my daughter suffered. The day she ultimately got the attention that she needed, Cindy had taken her 2 children to the doctor and left Rica at home with another one of her kids. And, I mean, not one time over this time period with the throwing up, with the stomach pains, with the blindness, with the not being able to eat, with the tiredness, with the lethargic, everything that she went through, not one time did her dad even think to say something's not right with my daughter. I need to take her to the hospital. If they would have gotten her some type of help that morning, they would have done something. At any point between the time of the injury up until the time of her death, my daughter would have been fine. She would have been at least had a chance. She didn't stand a chance because nobody in the house cared. So my daughter did not stand a chance, no matter when she was running into walls, she was falling down the stairs. She was blinded by her injuries, and they put her to bed. They threw her in the tub, and they put her to bed, is what they did for her. Regardless of what she was saying was happening, nobody cared enough to do anything about it. And when they did finally call EMTs for her, she was so upset that my daughter threw up on her floor in her brand new home. That's all her concern was, is that my daughter is messing up her carpet in the home that she just bought. That was their concern.
Now, we know that from the autopsy report, they have identified at least 67 markings that was on your daughter's body over a period of time. Is that correct?
That is correct. Cigarette burns. She has cigarette burns. My ex-husband didn't even smoke cigarettes. His girlfriend did. 67 marks. How many DCFS reports? She has visible marks on her. The red flags that they say they're looking for to prove abuse. If they're looking for them, how come they didn't see them? 67 marks. Black eyes, broken teeth. How come they didn't see them?
Now, is it that they didn't see it, or they just didn't go out to follow up on a report? Because it's baffling to me.
They never followed up. They never followed up.